Help Wanted 2 is probably the best Five Nights at Freddy's game, and that's kind of crazy to say. At least in my opinion, it's absolutely the most fun I've had with a FNAF game to date. But if you're like me, you've probably hyper-fixated on what's going on with the story, timelines, and overall themes of the Five Nights at Freddy's series. And with this being its newest entry right now, it's practically all I was thinking about during my playthrough. Well, not all I was thinking about. So what's going on with Help Wanted 2? Well, to evaluate this sequel, I also wanted to look at, well, the first Help Wanted. FNAF Help Wanted is, on a surface level, a fictitious virtual reality experience called the Freddy Fazbear Virtual Experience, designed to hide the bad press concerning the company at the time, but is also possessed with a malevolent glitchy rabbit. This is different from what we see in Help Wanted 2. Well, kinda. This game seems to be used as training experience for future Fazbear employees, using the exact same training tape footage from Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator to introduce the player to the game. We're also told that we are the Pizzaplex's last employee. We start at a location that looks an awfully lot like the pizzeria from Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, or how it's referred to in both that game and Security Breach, Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Place, except it's all tidied up, with little resemblance to how it looked in Security Breach. The player interacts with the main interface to access short minigames, usually involving fixing or maintaining animatronics or certain locations in either the Pizzaplex, Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental, and other locations from the series. After completing a certain amount, you'll be given a Faz Force figurine, also showing 5 more that you'll have to collect. After completing all the available levels, with some being locked by a cheeky glitchy rabbit, you'll soon discover that you've been wearing the Vanny AR mask, the same one we see from Ruin this entire time. This discovery shows us that we actually have been in the FNAF 6 location, the exact same building that's revealed to us in Security Breach being directly underneath the Pizzaplex. Seeing familiar faces like Candy Cadet and the Oh, still no Paper Buddy. Anyway, this gives you access to the glitched levels, or the hard mode levels like we saw in FNAF Help Wanted. Completing all of the minigames gives players access to all 6 of the different Faz Force figurines, with the 2 secret ones looking like Golden Freddy and the Puppet. With all 6, you'll finally be able to combine them and form the bringing us to the first ending in the game, where Glitchtrap's arm is seen coming out of a charging station, presumably the same one from the Burn Trap ending of Security Breach. A group of Nightmare-owned staff bots then jump the player, and we're transported to the same view of the mask bot from Ruin, giving the Vanny AR mask to Cassie. And just for the sake of convenience, for the rest of the video, I'll be calling this the bad ending. The second ending is a little more complicated. Slowly, the player will be given chances to unlock strange voodoo doll-looking plushies in the game, referred to as memories in the achievements list of 6 different characters, those being Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Golden Freddy, and the Puppet, giving us access to a glitched purple Faz token, hovering in front of the Mystic Hippo character. We now are able to play Princess Quest 4, both on the actual arcade cabinet and in a first-person view. As you delve lower into the dungeon, you're faced with 6 gravestones, all represented with the 6 different obtained memories that were found. Greeted by the old man, who trades the same Glitchtrap plush seen in Help Wanted with your Vanny AR mask. As soon as the player steps into the elevator from sister location, the walls fall down, revealing Vanny, who's observing you through a Crane Game arcade cabinet. The player then willingly gives Moon the same plushie, retrieving it to give to Vanny, who opens the chute and reveals Glitchtrap in the palm of her hand, who she promptly crushes and presumably kills, leaving while waving goodbye to the player. And like I said before, for the rest of the video, I'll be calling this the good ending. And that's pretty much the beat-for-beat story of Help Wanted 2. But what does this exactly tell us? What do the 2 endings mean? Does this take place after Security Breach? Or maybe even after Ruin? Who do we play as? And why in the world is Vanny still here? Well, I'm here to try and answer as many questions as possible, and hopefully see and try to clue in others to solve what FNAF Help Wanted 2 is really about. The very first thing I want to note is where this game takes place on the grand FNAF timeline. Due to this game taking place in the Pizzaplex, this game has to take place either after Security Breach or Ruin. But I have a good feeling it's right before the events of Security Breach's DLC, Ruin, due to certain clues given in the various minigames we play. In Roxanne's hard mode repair minigame, we are the ones to physically give Roxy a mask to conceal her broken appearance, the same one we see in Cassie's playthrough of Ruin. She even actually mentions Gregory in this line.
Where could he be hiding?
It's also important to note that these behaviors are almost identical to what we actually see in the DLC itself. This could also potentially explain why we see the ruined version of Shattered Chica with so much food and cheese on her, as she's been consuming a lot of it in the minigames we play. If this game took place after Ruin, we'd probably have seen animatronics like Eclipse, as we only see the shattered versions of Sun and Moon, which means that the daycare attendant has not yet become Eclipse, or the shattered version of Monty, or like Monty at all for some reason. All of this evidence would also perfectly align with who I think we're actually playing as, which gets me to who our protagonist actually is. When I was first playing through the game, I had the idea that our player character isn't very important in the first place, as if we're playing as different staff bots or maybe just a random technician. But the more I thought about certain details in the story, and especially ties to Ruin, the more conclusions I came to. Just coming off of pure gameplay, the player character has to be important to some sort of degree, as many of the major characters in the game constantly repeat the line, "What makes you so special?"
What makes you so special?
What makes you so special?
What makes you so special?
Gravitating towards what both Ruin and this game reference, I believe there really is only one character we can be playing as, and that is Cassie's father. From the small snippets we hear about him in Ruin, Cassie describes her father as a Fazbear Entertainment employee, more importantly a Faz technician at the Pizzaplex. She talks about his Faz wrench and his favoritism for the character of Bonnie, which I don't blame him. Cassie also seems to describe her father in the past tense, which could mean that she hadn't seen or talked to her dad in a long time. And to my surprise, all of these details are seen in Help Wanted 2's gameplay, story, and hidden aspects. The entire game is masqueraded as this Fazbear employee initiation, something we know for a fact he worked under, and is most likely used as training for the AR masks. Certain items directly associated with Cassie's father, thanks to the item descriptions seen in Ruin, are actually present in this game as well, including the Faz wrench, the Glamrock Bonnie plush, and this secret Bonnie mask in Princess Quest 4. Which is something I want to talk a little more about, because this is the only mask of any of the animatronics found in the entire game. And while it's not identical, this could explain the description given for the same item in Ruin, saying, "What happened to you?" which is absolutely referencing Cassie talking about what happened to her father. This could also potentially explain the description of the Vanny AR mask from Ruin as well, as it's explicitly stated that the mask was left behind by some Faz technician. In the bad ending of the game, this mask would have literally been left behind by Cassie's father, a Faz technician. Bonnie is also strangely mentioned heavily in the achievements list for the game, being displayed somewhat in the main images in Remember Jeremy, Lost Luggage, which is the same mask from Princess Quest 4, and Hoarder. All of these both being this character's favorite animatronic and the character he's most heavily affiliated with. The reason Cassie hasn't seen her father for a while is because he's literally trapped underground in the Pizzaplex, being forced to do Glitchtrap's bidding, while he believes he's filling in as a Faz technician and training with the new AR masks. But the most conclusive piece of evidence I feel is simply that Cassie's father was such a mystery even in Ruin, and this is the perfect place for a character like him to shine. It perfectly represents and describes what we know of him so far, and even ties him back into the story presented in Security Breach's DLC. Cassie's father is being tricked by Glitchtrap, like we've seen so many others fall into beforehand. And yeah, what's going on with Glitchtrap? He's seen in both the endings for the game, so he has to be important, right? Being the main antagonist of both Help Wanted and Security Breach, well, in a way, it was mostly believed that Princess Quest 3 brought the end of Glitchtrap's control over the animatronics and Vanessa, which it did. But the existence of the fourth Princess Quest machine being in an alpha state has kept Glitchtrap, while being small in size, still remaining in the Pizzaplex. But after completing the fourth entry, we see Vanny crush the remaining bits of Glitchtrap and step into the darkness. More than anything, I think this directly confirms that Glitchtrap is no more, at least in this ending, as with closer inspection, you can actually see him visibly shaking his head no before being squished. The second thing I think this confirms is Glitchtrap being part of or associated directly with that of the Mimic seen in Ruin. With the last cutscene seen in the bad ending of Help Wanted 2, we are the ones controlling MaskBot, or the ruined version of MapBot from Security Breach. It's important to note that this also occurs right after the glimpse of Glitchtrap, reaching his arm out to escape the charging station. Glitchtrap causes the events of Ruin to happen by controlling Mapbot and giving Cassie the Vanny AR mask. Guess we should have been paying more attention to his rabbit ears. And from both the hints given in the menu screen and how Helpy and the Mimic seem to be directly connected to each other, this would mean that Glitchtrap is trying to help the Mimic escape its confinement under the Pizzaplex. And let's just be real, it makes so much sense for Glitchtrap to be part of the Mimic. It would explain why Glitchtrap looks like a stitched together stylized version of Spring Bonnie, as the Mimic favors these types of costumes like we see in Ruin. It would explain why Glitchtrap acts exactly like William Afton did during the missing children's incident, as the Mimic is mimicking his behavior, and why Glitchtrap would help the Mimic escape in the first place. So, out of the two endings, which one is canon? Well, I think the answer has to be through the termed bad ending, due to the scene of Maskbot giving Cassie the Vanny AR mask. This is something we know happens in Ruin, and it's not dictated or changed in any way through any of that game's endings. But that doesn't necessarily mean we should write off the good ending of the game either, because I think it actually tells us a lot, especially about Vanny. Vanny is in a strange spot right now, as I'm not 100% sure what her main intent is anymore, especially after the good ending seen in this game. If Vanessa, 1, was under the control of Glitchtrap, and 2, broke out of that control in the Princess Quest ending of Security Breach, why is she in Help Wanted 2? And more importantly, why did she kill Glitchtrap? I think it's to cement the idea that Vanny is not 100% gone yet, which is actually something we see in one of Security Breach's many endings. Whether it's to get back at Glitchtrap for controlling her in the first place, settling her unfinished business, or something entirely new, like trying to create another Vanny, possibly Cassie as a result of perhaps 2 of the 3 endings in Ruin, or something entirely different. For Vanny, I'm not sure, and I'd like to see what everyone else thinks, because I have a feeling Vanny's story isn't over just yet. So, what is FNAF Help Wanted 2 really about? Well, in my opinion, we play as Cassie's father, who sometime after the events of Security Breach is trapped in the FNAF 6 location, present in Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria Simulator, directly underneath the Pizzaplex. Throughout the course of the various minigames we play, which are simulated with a mix of the AR mask and various staff bots, kinda like with what we see Gregory use in the Pizza Bot minigame in Security Breach, we help repair the Glamrock animatronics and touch up the inner workings of the Pizzaplex. With Glitchtrap's presence not yet gone due to the 4th Princess Quest arcade machine, he influences us to grow his power. Vanny, on the other hand, is working against him and trying to get the player to complete Princess Quest 4 and kill the remaining bits of Glitchtrap. However, eventually, Cassie's father is unsuccessful in learning this and succumbs to his influence, freeing him and in turn getting killed by various Nightmare-owned staff bots. The result of this is Glitchtrap spreading his influence to the then Mapbot and providing Cassie the same Vanny AR mask we had in our playthrough. This then results in the rest of Ruin and the eventual freeing of the Mimic. At least, that's what I think. Of course, if you personally have another idea of where Help Wanted 2's story and direction are going, I'd love to hear about it and recommend that you post a comment down below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later. Take care.